Today, for those of you that might not have met me yet, I'm Bill Harder. I'm the director of CAST, and I'm joined with Stephen Bailey here today. And this is just a repeat of our intro to Microsoft Teams workshop. I want to note at the offset that we're recording this workshop. So if at a later date you want to come back to it, in a couple days you'll get an email from me with a link to this, or if one of your colleagues wasn't able to attend either of these workshops, they'll have access to it. So most of this is Stephen's going to lead us through, but just by way of introduction to Microsoft Teams and how we hope that it might be useful for you on campus, I'm just going to say a couple things. This workshop, where we decided to put it on knowing that there are some groups on campus that are already using Teams, but also it's kind of been a as interested rollout across a number of different centers and offices on campus. So for even those parts of campus that might already be using Teams, it does a lot. There's a lot of different features that we could be using, and so we just wanted to create a workshop where we can go over a number of the different types of features, just really scratching the surface of some of the different things that Teams can do. And also, sometimes one of the most useful things here is we can think about who exactly the teams that we're interacting with are in our work on campus, because sometimes it might make most sense not to just make a team for your own individual organizational unit, but for a number of people that you work with on an ongoing basis across campus, whether that's committee work, whether that's other type of programmatic work. And so as you're going through these in the workshop today and thinking about these features, I just encourage you to think about, who do you interact with on campus in a regular kind of fashion with the work that you do, and think about how you might use some of these features for that. Just some logistical parts of this. We've got about 23 people in here. So the way that we plan on doing this is we're going to basically, Stephen's going to present, he's going to screen share for a bunch. I will sort of facilitate the chat, and we built in a number of places that we can break for questions. And during those question points, I'll read out the questions from the chat, or also have an opportunity for any of you to get on microphone if you want to ask questions. And we've also built in some time at the end for Q&A. So with that, I will turn it over to Stephen and let him take it away.
All right, hope everyone's doing well. So just to sort of piggyback off of what Bill was talking about in terms of like the collaboration nature of this application that we're going to discuss today, I want to first, again, open that question of how do we communicate or collaborate with one another currently? And we've got a lot of different avenues of communication. You've got obviously emails, you got file sharing, whether it's across Box, Magellan, or whatever servers, on-campus servers that we have. Some of you might work with Inside Goucher or reporting service or things of that nature. And sometimes it gets a little bit crazy where you've got all of these things in different areas and you want to sort of bring it into one central hub. So what Microsoft Teams is basically their solution for creating a collaboration hub from which you could be able to do a lot of your inner office and inner work collaborations and communications. So I'm first going to start by taking over the screen share and just showing how you get to access Microsoft Teams. Now, everyone on Goucher, faculty, staff, students, have an Office 365 license already. And so with that license, you also have access to Teams. And you already have access to most of the features in Teams in terms of the application. It's just some things we're going to go over about actual teams within Teams that we're also going to clarify. So let me go ahead and take over screen share and going to first show how to get there. So can everyone see that? Cool. So there's three main ways to access Teams. One is through a web browser, going to your Office Online account which I'm going to show soon. The other one is there is a desktop program download and install that you can do for Teams. And then there's actually mobile apps for both iOS and Android devices as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my browser here. And I'm going to office.goucher.edu is the main sign-in portal. Oh, I'm already signed in. Let me demonstrate how this works again. Cool. All right, try that again. Office.goucher.edu. So you'll come to a Microsoft login screen. It already has my account cached, but just in case it doesn't, it'll look something like this. And your Office login format is your username at goucher.edu. So your Goucher username at goucher.edu is your Office login. Go to next, and if it works right, you should see the logo in the background. Password is the same as for your overall Goucher account. This is just asking if you want to stay signed in. And it'll take you to your home screen for your Office online account. Now, my layout is a little bit more advanced because I've got the newer version, but normally you see like a bunch of application buttons in the center. You may see like Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and things like that. The application, in this case, we're actually going to go to Teams from here. So on the left side panel here, I have Teams right there. You may have it in the center area. If you don't, there's two ways to get it. There'll be like an all apps button, like around this area. Or you have this button up here. Now this button is present on most of the applications in Office. If you ever log into your email online, and I'm going to show that real quick, you may be familiar with this view from logging into your email from a web browser. That same button is up here as well. So you click that and you locate Teams. If it's not there, then you go to all apps and locate it. And from there, we're going to go into Teams. You may be prompted to get the Windows app. I already have it installed, so I'm just going to jump straight to the web app, and it'll take you to here. And this is like your main page. This is the Microsoft Teams application. So our first section of the application that we're going to go over is the chat, and this is the most readily available for everyone. Everyone already has access to chat. You can initiate chat sessions with almost pretty much everyone in the college. You can initiate group sessions and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go to the chat button. Note this is going to be on this left side panel here. Go to chat. And you see that I have recent chats going on. No, I see someone's typing right now. Got recent chats going on, and oh, apparently Alex is picking up his car. So, if you want to initiate a new chat with somebody, you can either click here or just search for their name. So, who do I got in this call? Julian. See Julian in here. So I can just type in Julian, and there he is. And I can initiate a new chat conversation straight from here. If I want to do it from here, it's the same deal where I enter Julian's name and go from there. You can do one-to-one chats, and you can do group chats. Let's say I want to add more people to this. So let's say Carter, let's see, Dawn. And from there, I can create a new group chat right there. There's also an option when creating a group chat. Let me see if I type in those same names again. If you click over here, you can also name the group so that it's easier to see in your list of chat messages over here. You see that we've got I've got some like our student managers, clock in students, and things like that for our student workers. And we're going to go back to our initial chat. We got things happening. Awesome. Down here, you've got your basic chat buttons here where you basically just type in your messages. Some important buttons of note is the format button. So this is where you can add additional formatting. You can even insert code snippets, insert tables, things like that. Everything else is pretty standard. If you want to post with some urgency, which will ping their activity feed, and we'll go over activity feed later, I can go here. Like that. You can attach files. So if I click that, and I can upload a document from either my computer or OneDrive directly. You got all these various buttons that do various functions. Those buttons will change, adapt, and evolve as Microsoft upgrades this program, because it's honestly constantly being like more developed, more sophisticated as Microsoft works on it. So you may see additional options later on. Main things is format, urgency, attach files. If you want to do emojis or stickers or stuff like that. You can also click this button right here. It looks like a little calendar with a plus sign to schedule a meeting. And from here, I can immediately set up a meeting that will go to all of our Outlook calendars. So there's no actual technical difference between creating a meeting here and doing it in your Outlook application or your email. If I go to Scheduling Assistant, I can see right here when people are available, not available, and so on and so forth. Everything else is just like creating a new meeting. So if I created that meeting, you would then get email invites as if it was a normal meeting. I'm not going to go over these other buttons except for the 3 dots button. You want to look for the 3 dots button whenever possible, because those are additional options. You'll see them all over the place. If you highlight over chats, over here, it's all over the place. Oh, my iPad just fell asleep in my notes. Cool. Now, let's say I want to ping somebody. If you ever use Slack or like another chat program, you've probably used to pinging somebody. It's the same syntax as with Slack. You simply type the @ symbol, and then you choose a name. And then it will ping that person. Basically, it gets their attention more than just a basic chat message. You also, within group chats, have some member control. Note that only the person that creates, nice. Note that only the person that can create the group chat are able to remove people. You can add people and you can leave the chat yourself. So let's say at some point later on, I want to revamp this group. I can simply just remove maybe Dawn, or maybe add somebody else. It'll still stay the same name. So, and then if you remove somebody, they won't get updated messages to that chat message or chat channel. On every single chat channel, there will be standard tabs. You have your chat and you have your files. So if I were to attach a document, then it would show up right here. And as you see, if I open up this file, so Julian's picture of the cartoon dog shows up in the Files tab. So anything that is attached to files inside the chat will show up here for easier access. Oh, what just happened? Next thing I want to show is this plus button. This is where you can add additional tabs for applications and things of that nature. There's a lot of power in this particular section, because let's say I'm working with Julian and Bill on a spreadsheet document, and it's something that we routinely access on a regular basis. What I could do is actually add it as a tab on the chat, and it'll be there for anyone to just click. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. Oh, okay. I need to throw a file into the Files tab, so give me 1 second. I got a dummy file somewhere. Where is that thing? You can't see it off screen, but I basically have a file explorer that just click and drag, and I can drop this new spreadsheet. There it is. This new spreadsheet file into there. So any one of them can now access this spreadsheet, and it's a dummy file, so go, any one of you can go ahead and open it up and mess around with it. One really cool thing about interacting with Office documents like your standard Word, PowerPoint, and Excel is that you can actually edit them in real time with other people inside of Teams. So if I were to open this up, and I see that Julian Ben has it open, so, okay, and there's Bill Harder. So I can actually see in real time where they're highlighted on the document and any changes that they make. So go ahead and make some changes, guys. Yep. So that's Bill right now, just putting in new things, and it saves automatically in real time as we go along. So let's say you're working with a student on, let's say, their final paper. You can actually have it open in Teams along with like an audio call or something like that, which I will go over next. And then just be editing that same Word document together, even if you two are not in the same place. So it's the same kind of thing in PowerPoint and Word. Cool. I'm gonna close this down. They can continue editing to their heart's content. So if I wanted to then add, now that that file's there as a tab, oh, let me go slower on that. This plus sign allows you to add application tabs. So I click that, and I go to Excel, I choose that document, and I can choose to post a message to the tab or not, and I hit save. So now if I am in the normal chat and I just want to directly access that file really fast, I'll just have to click on that tab. Now there are a ton of applications that are available. If we scroll through some of these right here, you have your standard Excel, OneNote, Word, PowerPoint, but you have all of these third-party applications that some of you may or may not be familiar with. If anyone uses Asana for, say, like project management, if you like using Evernote, excuse me, I don't know what half of these things do. Lucidchart, I know, makes really nice charts. Let's see here. This is actually a smaller list than ones that are available in Teams. So that's one thing to keep in mind. There's a lot more available. If you're looking for a certain application like Trello, you can then add a Trello tab, provided you have an account to that system. That's the one key thing with that. And I'll show a little bit more applications that are available when you switch over to the Teams. Now within each chat, you also have the ability to do audio and video calls. And those buttons are going to be located in the top right section over here. So let's say I want to initiate an audio call to this group of people. All I have to do is click this button. And it will ring on their end. Cool. Hello. Awesome. So that was a group audio call altogether. You can do a video call as well. Again, the 3 dots button has more options like entering full screen, start recording of calls. You can turn off incoming video, things of that nature. You can see the conversation of the current chat by that button right there. You can show the participants and invite additional people if you want. And then you have this share screen button. This button will also be potentially key in some of your interactions with people, because let's say we have a situation where I'm trying to assist somebody with something. I need to see their screen and just know what's going on. You might be familiar with us doing remote control on through our own setup with IT, but this is another way for you all to be able to do this on your own. So, Bill, could you demonstrate sharing your screen to us real quick? So he's going to click this button, and he can choose either his main desktop or any other applications on his window. And, oh, so we're going to get the infinite effect because we're in the same call together.
Yeah, let me share something else.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, that's enough. So yeah. So this is him directly on his computer. And if I want to, let's see here, where's that button? It may be on the, yeah, it is. It's only on the desktop application, I believe, but I can request control of his computer through here as well. So we're not going to go over that right now. But now you see how chat does a lot more than just chat. It does file collaboration. You can schedule meetings straight from it. You can initiate audio and video calls and screen sharing. And then let's say, let's go ahead and hang up this call, everyone. And then let's say I'm looking for a certain thing in a chat message somewhere. I need to type in a keyword. Let's see. I can then press enter to view all results, and it'll show where my search shows up either as a person name, a file name, or within a message. So if you're looking for something that happened in a chat like 6 months ago, there's a good chance you can search from this box up here, and it should show up. We'll go ahead and open up for a few questions regarding chat if anyone has anything.
Yeah, so I've got a couple from the chat.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is if there's a particular web browser that works best, or if they're all pretty much the same.
It'll actually tell you if Teams does not support on that browser. I believe Firefox is not supported. Safari may or may not be. I have to double check that. It'll tell you.
All right, and then so there's a question. Could you just show again how you created a tab in that chat?
Yep. I'll just click on that chat to open up again. Simply press the plus button up here. And this time, let's say I want to add a quick link to a website. So let's do website. Oh. I can add a quick link to get your homepage. Now note that for website adding tabs, there may be limited support. If I were to move or click on a button, it may or may not stay in here. It may jump to your browser window, or it may just not work altogether. But that's just an additional thing you can do in terms of adding things. We have actually on one of our team channels a quick link to our knowledge base. So simply go into Teams, click on it, and boom.
May I ask something? That was my question. And may I just follow up with another little question? Is that okay? When you were demonstrating with the Excel, you said something about like drag and click or something like that. And I just, so I still,
yes.
if I wanted to share a Word document, for example, so I would still go to the little plus sign up there.
Let me see here. You click on this share button,
okay,
and you can upload a document from your computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's under the Files tab at the top, not the
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it either from here, or if you want to do it in a chat message, you can do it from here as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.
And then one last question, and I might ask Julian to expand here. But he asks why Outlook is missing from his team options. I can see Excel, but I can't seem to locate Outlook.
What would you be trying to do with that, Julian? Is he still here?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? My Zoom is weird
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep.
Anything. I don't know. Just like I saw it was in there, and I was like, oh, can I access Outlook from this?
Oh, do you mean when you hit the plus sign, finding Outlook under those options there?
Yeah, because so
Okay.
you see the sidebar where it was talking about apps or whatever inside of
Yeah.
Teams, and how Excel is one of the items in there. So I was like, can you do any of the Microsoft things? Because I spend a lot of time in Excel, but I also spend a lot of time, in Outlook as well. So if I'm working on something in Razor's Edge and I want to reference something in an email to send it over to, let's say, Megan Wallace or to Don, then
Gotcha.
I wanted to pull it from there, but I didn't see anything for Outlook in it. So I was like, everything but Outlook, huh? That's kind of what happened.
Okay, because the way the Outlook files are formatted, they're like that .eml file format or things like that. I personally don't usually export out an email as a file and send it to somebody. I may forward it, I may reply to it and add more people to it. Outlook is an entirely different application from Teams on the same online environment. So you would click up here and simply go to it.
I see. Because I export the email files all the time. That's a regular practice, especially when we're trying to keep receipts of conversations and stuff like that. Or like if we're fulfilling a request, sometimes we keep the entire email thread as just evidence of how a conversation flows.
Okay, yeah. So if you kind of, yeah. So what I'm guessing is that, let's say you're in a group chat with like 3 people in your department and you need to export out an email file, right? As an example.
Yeah, that's an example.
Okay, then in that case, you would simply just download the Outlook file to your computer and then just upload it. Now you can't add it as a tab. That's one that's not supported on this kind of tab thing right here.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can create. Okay.
Basically, I would send it as an attachment. I would basically download the file and then send it as an attachment, essentially.
When we go over to the actual Teams setup, it may make more sense because you can actually create file folders.
Okay.
You can't do file folders in chats. So, cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the main section. Oh, one last thing here. Additional options for different chats are the 3 dots button again. You've got options to pin it, where it'll stay in this upper menu. You can mute it, you can hide it, or you can mark as unread. That's all that stuff there. Cool. So now we're going to go to actual Teams. And the difference, a main thing between Teams and chat is that Teams are officially groups in the Office environment. So that means that an email address is created for it. There are official members within groups, similar to how email distribution lists work. And then you've got management control of members going in and out as necessary. So currently, Teams creations are restricted to only the system administrators and myself. We're still debating whether we want to open that up a little bit more or not. Obviously, we don't want to have the entire student population just create teams out of nowhere. We have to have some level of control. So let's go ahead and go to the actual Teams tab. So over here. And I'm going to work with a test team setup that we have right here. Let's see here. And as we go into our test team, you see a couple of familiar things. You'll see, if I press new conversation, you see that same area where I can create messages, do formatting, attach files, etc. I have very similar tab setup up here. If I go to this channel here, usually, actually, that's not even a good one. No, not that one either. every single team starts with a general channel, and it'll start with a post board for messages, a files tab for files, and then a OneNote notebook that's created for the team. And depending on what kind of team you create, there may be different permission sets on that. A lot of the things in terms of where different areas of activity are happening are similar as well. You've got now what's called channels instead of different chats. We'll get into the channels for a minute, but for right now, I'm going to create a new conversation. And I have a lot of the same different things. But what's kind of interesting here is that instead of chat, where you usually do, you have like message, 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 you've got threaded discussions. So I can reply, as you can see right there. Bill added a reply to that thread, and it stays connected to that message. So this can sometimes solve the problem of, let's say you've got multiple conversations happening at the same time. You want to make sure you know which replies are going to what conversation. Pinging options are the same with some additional things. You can ping either individual people, or you can do the entire channel, or the entire team. So if we're to hit that, then everyone would get hit with a notification regardless of their notification settings, which we'll go over later. Let's see here. If we go over to files, you'll see a similar thing with adding files. You can add new files, upload files, download files, but you also have an option to add cloud storage. Now, a lot of us faculty staff use Box as well, and you can actually add Box as a folder to a certain channel. Now note that it'll only provide like a link directly to that folder. You can't edit documents within Box from Teams. So if we're to go here, it's asking grant access. Cool. All right. So all that there, I can simply add a folder to here. I'll delete that real quick. And it'll basically act as a link to it. Oh. Okay, I might have broke that, but it's fine. So if you're working with somebody that's using, say, Google Drive or something like that, you can also add a link to Google Drive folders. If someone's using Dropbox, you can add a link to Dropbox folders and the such like. Let's see here. Now, there's also Open in SharePoint here. I do caution against touching this unless you know how SharePoint works. This can give you additional features in terms of file management, especially if you're a team owner. You can set different files and folder permissions to have, say, full edit permissions, view only, or even make the file invisible to certain groups or certain people within a team. Okay. The notebook, don't really have much to say about that. It's OneNote. Anyone within the team can then just create new pages and sections within this. So over here, we're now going to go over to channels. And right now I've got 3 channels. I've got 2 normal ones, and I've got this one with a padlock. So you have the ability to create private and public channels. And the difference being that public channels, everyone that's on the team has access to it, and private channels are only accessible to those that are added to it by whoever creates the channel. So if I wanted to Again, the three dots button, add members. I want to add Bill to the secret channel. He would then be able to see that channel show up. It won't even show on his, it will not show on your screen unless you're added to it. Okay. So this begs the question, how do we create channels? You can do it a couple ways, or actually the main way is to the three dots button here next to the team name and add channel. And give the channel a name. This is where you set that privacy. Excuse me. And automatically show the channel everyone's channel is. So this button will basically just have this channel automatically show up here for everyone. Let's just go ahead and edit. And boom, there's a new channel. And as such, the add tabs that we asked about before has a lot more features, a lot more applications available in Teams. So now I'm seeing Adobe Creative Cloud. I am seeing Bitbucket. I think I saw, believe, oh, GitHub used to be on there. Guess that's not anymore. Box is right there. So that's another way to add access to a box folder is through a tab. Again, if you're used to using another application within your department, you can go ahead and see if you can add it as a tab onto a team. So then what kind of channels do we want to set up? Well, that's kind of dependent on how your department or team runs. There are several different ways of formatting things, and one example that I always like to refer to, let me see here, I can bring up this file from another chat session. I like to reference the Exploration Hub because it's a combination of three different departments rolled into one. The Career Education Office, the Office of Global Education, and then Community-Based Living. And if I go ahead, copy this image. You see that they have their channel layout based on like the different areas of activity that that the entire hub runs off of. So again, you got the general channel, but then you've also got separate channels for career mentors, the career communities, hub meetings, student assistance, and social media, and things like that. There's a different channel for advising, for CBL. All of this allows you to have more levels of organization within your department. So you can organize it however you want, but it kind of helps to keep different areas of activity separate from each other. If, for instance, I'm dealing with networking things, I'll go to the channel labeled networking and see what's going on there. Or I may go to database management, and there'll be another channel for just that as well. Tech support, there could be another channel for that as well. There's no real completely right answer on how you would format that. It's just based on how you work. Another kind of cool idea would be if FMS wanted to separate channels based on their different areas of work. I don't know, like electrical maintenance or whatever have you, or field work or things like that. You can also separate channels based on member hierarchy. So we have a channel for like our student techs, we'll have a channel for like our staff team, we'll have a channel for help desk and things like that. And again, that just helps to separate out those different areas where the things might be happening within your organization. And the Files tab and the Post tab, all the tabs will stay separate based on the channels that they're set to. So if I go to the Files tab here, it's going to be different than if I go to the Files tab in the general section. Are there any questions right now about teams? How to create them, how to set them up, what their functions are?
There's nothing in the chat. There was a question about the initial creation of a team page, but I think you just answered that enough, unless I hear differently.
Yep. Cool. Let me see here. Scrolling down.
I'll just while you're looking at that, I'll say one thing. So a question we get sometimes, right, is why would you do this in a team and not in a chat, right? Why not just make a chat that had these people in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We run into the same thing with our technical support team, where we have both multiple chats going on, and then we've got our team board going on. I personally see it as a kind of level of priority. So a lot of times we're doing very immediate work. So if I'm, say, on like a classroom emergency call and I need like immediate answers, I'll use the chat because it's a lot faster. And actually, chat notifications by default ping everyone within that chat. But let's say there's some more long-term things that are happening. Like we get notices about certain updates. Let's say those IT bulletins that go out. That would be something that I feel would be more appropriate to be put on a message board, because then there's not as much clutter going on. Whereas chats can have like 100 messages a day going on. Maybe just a few items at a time or a few conversations happening on a message board. Hopefully that clarifies that particular usage. It's not a completely right or wrong answer. That's just how I see it. So there's room for creativity.
I'll just add in, because my prior institution, I came from a very teams-heavy office, and the logic was, if there was something that was going to have some longevity to what you were saying, outside of just like a one-off sort of conversation, then you wanted to post that in the Teams sort of message board function, with the idea being now it's in a centralized location everyone can go back to later when this conversation around whatever particular topic. We used it a lot for event planning and things like that. So you knew it was all in that one channel. And the idea is you'd move things that might be 3 or 4 different email threads that, we all know Outlook is difficult to search in sometimes. Well, at least now if you commit to using Teams this way, then it's in that channel, and you can use this search function within that channel to find whatever part of that conversation you're looking for.
Yep, and search is, again, at the very top. Cool.
So I have a question. Stephen, if Mark set up a global education Teams, and even though you showed Hub as a good example, if I wanted to chat with somebody in career education, would I chat with them through the global Teams, or would I chat with them through their career education Teams?
Chat is completely separate from Teams, so you can create a chat message with anybody.
Oh, I can? like you showed us in the beginning. Okay, that's I don't know why. I just feel like, do I need to be in the Teams for?
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's good logic, but
that was an initial misconception when we started rolling out Teams. It's like, do we have to have a team created to use the application? No, you do not. You can use the chat. You can use the calendar, which I'm about to go over.
Search out the person and just chat that way.
Yeah. The primary purpose of creating a team is for additional organization, collaboration, structure.
Which makes sense, because there's things that we can do within our teams at Global that doesn't really need to be in the Teams for career education.
Exactly. So you can flip back using the All Teams button and to go to whatever team that you're looking for your stuff at.
Okay, got it.
Yep. I'm going to move on to one application, actually, before I move on to the calendar. That might be of some use to people is Planner, which is available. You can create it within channels on a team. Let me see, I don't know what's in this Planner. Let's see here. Yep, so what Planner does is allow you to create what's called buckets or categories of areas of activity, and you can create tasks and assign them to whoever within the team. So if I were to create a task here, can assign it to myself, set a due date if I want, and then hit add task. Excuse me. And then when I open that task up, I can then have additional editing features like add some notes. I can add attachments or file attachments, checklists, things like that. You can also pin that app onto your left side panel for easier access. You see I have it right here. And as you can see here, it's a separate tab on that channel. So if I were to go to test channel, it would no longer be available because it's unique to that channel alone. So cool. If you guys use Microsoft Forms, you can also add a form as a new tab. Like I said, there's so much stuff in here, I don't even know what a quarter of it does. So feel free to sort of experiment, like run around and see what you can get up to with it. So we're gonna go ahead and go over to calendar. The last remaining application buttons shouldn't take too long to go over. Calendar, if I click on it, will basically bring up your Outlook calendar as if you were in your Outlook program itself. From here, I can click on double click to open more details about a sort of event. Again, the same as if you were in Outlook. You can create new meetings up here. Scheduling assistant, add optional. Again, keep picking on Julian. Details, and just create a message from here. It'll create in a calendar event the same way as if you do it in Outlook. So there's really no difference. So then the question is, why would you do it here versus Outlook? If you're already in this application, might as well. You also have what's called live event. We've only done very initial testing on this, but basically it's like Microsoft's version of a webinar setup, similar to how Zoom does webinars. And there might be some future use cases for that as well, but just want to show that that's where that is. Next, we're going to show the activity button, and the activity is sort of like your news feed for Teams. So I've got different notification settings, not just for chats, but also per channel. So if I go to the three dots button, I can set custom notification settings per channel. So right now I have it to all new posts. I don't get hit. I can also set it to only show in feed, which basically means it'll ping that activity channel. And I can set it to banner and feed, where it'll do both a ping on the activity channel and a notification, whether it's desktop or mobile. So then when I go to activity, then that'll list out all of the things that basically match those notification settings that you have. So then I can simply just click on any one of these to go and just view whatever happened. Additional place to edit notification settings is up here. If you click on, it'll be either your picture or your initials in the top right-hand corner. You can go to settings. You can go to notifications. And you can also edit general notification settings for your overall account here. Now, one notification setting that you do want to pay attention to is missed activity emails. So what this does is, let's say I got 3 activity notices that hit my activity feed. I don't open them up. I don't view them. What the system will do is send an email to you saying, hey, here's some stuff that you missed based on the time length you specify here. So you can do it as soon as possible. You also have 10 minutes, every hour, every 8 hours. I personally have it set to daily, so that if there's something in my activity feed that I missed that day, I'll get an email about it. But you want to pay attention to this, because I think by default it's set to every hour. and I'm pretty sure no one wants that. I could be wrong. Maybe you need it every 10 minutes. I don't know. But right there, missed activity emails is where that is located. And you also have these other settings that we'll show in a bit. Is there any questions about calendar or the activity feed?
Nothing in the chat right now.
Cool.
But if anybody wants to get on mic and ask something, go ahead.
I'm good. Thanks.
I'm good.
All
We've
right.
just got about 8 minutes left. So
Yeah, so we're on to our last section. As you noticed, I went to over here. You can also set your own status in Teams. Right now it's automatically to end a meeting because we have a calendar event. Settings, and you can change things like your theme. I can make it dark mode. I can change the view on the left side. I can change my privacy. Calls. An interesting thing about calls right now, the setup is that if you initiate an audio call with somebody and they don't pick up, there's actually a voicemail setup that you can leave a voicemail on their Teams account. So that's I think that's kind of cool. We're not really using it too much here because we have our own phone and voicemail system, but that's that. So then the last thing I'm going to go over is the mobile app. And you can download the Teams application from either your iOS or Android app stores, whatever device you have. Let me stop sharing. So, Bill, are you able to share the mobile app on your device?
Yeah, 1 second.
Cool. So this is the iOS Teams mobile app on your on iPhone, it looks like, and you've got a lot of the same things available. At the bottom is those buttons that we had before: your activity, your chat, your Teams. If you click the 3 dots button, then that'll show some of the other additional things like calendar, files, calls, etc. You can initiate chats by that button. Yep, you can access a existing chat or create a new chat from that. Yep, you can post a message to the same chat. Then you've got, if you want to create a new chat, it's that button in the top right, the square with the pencil. And it's the same deal as back in the main application. Add a single person, add multiple people, add an entire group, etc. So go ahead and back up. The 3 dots button becomes a 3 lines button in the top left-hand corner. If we click on that, you'll see that's that kind of account button that we had in the top right-hand corner. And if you have accounts in multiple organizations, you can also access it there. Activity acts the same. A lot of the things act the same. Some things that are different is that in chat, you can't pin chat messages the same way you can do in the main application. You can only pin channels. And then that power of file editing within Teams kind of works on the mobile app. What it'll do is, let's say, can you go to the Files tab real quick? So he can open and edit the Excel file from here. So he can open it here, but then if he wants to edit it, and that's the button top right corner, it has to kick over to the mobile app version of that program. So he would have to go to the App Store and download Excel and run it that way. So, but you can do the same thing. You can edit Excel documents, you can edit PowerPoint, you can edit Word documents from your phone or tablet. And that same thing with file collaboration. If I was in that document, he could also see where I'm moving around in that document as well. All right, so that is the bulk of the abilities that Team has. And as I stated before, it's not the complete picture. There are so many different more applications and things that Microsoft is routinely adding to teams. One really cool thing, I thought I saw, Wojtek on here. One really cool thing that Microsoft rolled a public beta out for is something called Walkie-Talkie. So within a certain channel on a team, you can actually create a Walkie-Talkie channel and run it on any mobile phone or device the same way that you would like have like a physical walkie-talkie. So basically it's an idea of replacing physical walkie-talkie with, say, a cell phone. So if I'm in that channel, I just hit the button. It'll actually be a button in my notification center on my phone, and just talk into it, and it hits everyone else that's in that channel. So
we've got a question in the chat.
Yep.
How do we know if we've received a message via chat?
Chat messages by default will ping you unless you change your notification settings. So you'll get it as, there's desktop notifications if you turn that on. You'll get it on your mobile devices if that's turned on. You'll get it if you're in the Office the Office program, you'll get it that way too. It's whatever devices have the notifications turned on.
And depending on what you've set that email notification on, right?
No, that's only if the email notification is only for missed activities. So if, say, something hit my activity feed and I don't touch it, then it'll email me at the next day. It says, hey, here's something you missed.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, Stephen, can you just repeat then where we set up those notifications? You don't have to go back to sharing screen, but if you can just remind me at least.
Yep, no worries. There's two ways to do it. If you click on the activity section, or like the activity button at top left, near the top left panel, there's a little gear icon, and that'll take you straight to notifications. At any time, though, you can click on your, it's like the circle in the top right hand. It'll be either your Outlook profile picture or your initials. Click that, go to settings, and then notifications is one of those section options.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I do have a couple additional points to add, but if there's any other questions, go on.
Why don't you hit those additional points, and then anybody else can type in the chat box, and we'll pick it up then.
Cool. All right. So as I stated before, only the sysadmins and myself have the ability to create a team for you. If you're interested in creating a team, just simply submit a help desk request, same way you normally do. Our current policy is that detail who you want the owner to be set to. So owners have additional permissions, and that's actually one thing I need to demonstrate really fast. Share screen again. If I go to, one second here. Share screen, screen 2. Again, 3 dots button next to the team, go to manage team, and this will give me additional management options. I can add members, I can remove members, I can upgrade members or de-escalate members. I can set different things on channels, other various settings like guest permissions, member permissions, things like that. So with that, when you want to create the team, submit their help desk request and specify who you want the owner or owners to be. There can be more than one. And then we set them as the owners, and then they go here to add additional members. Because what happens is that people that get added to a team get an email notification that says so-and-so added to a team. We found out that when I do it myself, like an entire department once got an email saying Steve added you to this team, and half of them had no clue what was going on. So it's probably better if it comes from somebody that you normally work with. That's what I'm saying here. The other thing to keep in mind is that the name of the team will also dictate the email address of the group. So like you've got your different department email addresses. I can't think of anything offhand, but when you email the name of that group, it usually sends that email to everyone within that group. It's the same case here with this creation of the team. The name of the team will be the email address. So the name of the team cannot be a currently used email address, and it's probably suggested that you use something that may not be used for a future occurrence. I usually add like the word team to the end to differentiate it. So if you've got, like, let's say human resources, I'll call it human resources team. So then the email address for that group would be humanresourcesteam@goucher.edu. Are there any final questions?
Nope, I'm good. Thanks.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for attending, and you know, if there are additional workshops or things that you think would be useful and helpful, please you know, reach out to me or Stephen or people. But generally, you know, we're happy to do these type of workshops on things that, you know, will help make your lives easier and your work easier. So please continue to reach out and let us know. And like I said, you'll get an email from me in a couple days with a link to this video.
Cool.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good
Thanks,
afternoon.
All right. Take care, everyone.